Welcome back to another podcast. We are back here today to talk about the Bachelorette episode 2, breaking it down for you, all the nonsense, all the ridiculousness, all the craziness. We're here for it.
Amen.
Before we get into it, just want to remind you, if you haven't already, make sure that you hit subscribe and that you are subscribed to the podcast wherever you're listening to it. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Overcast, all those good things. YouTube. We appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up. And let's get into today's episode. So I just had to start off with some first thoughts. The introduction into this episode, first of all, was very interesting. It looks like we may be watching the first ever season where the contestants want to cancel the lead. Are the guys trying to cancel Clare as the Bachelorette for other programming? Because that's what it's kind of looking like. So Clare has done some interviews since, the show aired, and we've gotten a lot more previews and whatnot to go off of that is giving a lot more information than we initially had. And so perhaps what we initially thought isn't correct. Maybe it's not that she leaves the season early, because now she's saying in interviews straight out that she did not just jump ship and leave her season early, and that whatever happened is not what everybody thinks it is, and that she's claiming she saw her season fully through. So, and then with these new previews that we're getting, that's giving us more information, and we're seeing more into what's coming in the future. It looks like the guys, maybe for the first time ever, as far as I know, I've never seen this happen, that the guys are maybe gonna walk out on her.
I think so.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
And also kind of embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
I would be like,
if you look at the energy of a lot of the guys,
I know,
they're not liking her.
We're gonna see it when we get into we get further into the recap. There was some
the more they're getting to know her, the more
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. It's the energy she's putting out there.
It's awkward.
People always feel the energy you're putting out there.
Yeah.
People know when you're there for them. They know it. They can feel it. They're not feeling her. To be honest, they're not.
So
I'm not feeling her.
Yeah. With that being said, let's get into it. So Claire starts by saying that Dale made everything else disappear. So it looks like right off the bat, they're just getting right into her talking about, this date's coming up, and there's a big emphasis on Dale. So, what's interesting is that usually in previous seasons, it's not always necessarily so clear who the front runner is at the very beginning. You kind of have to figure it out. Whereas with her, they're just putting it all out there. They're obviously not trying to hide anything at this point.
Nope.
So it's very interesting that there are maybe some bites that are coming in that we might not have gotten, I guess, if maybe whatever craziness is going to happen in her season that ultimately causes her to get replaced.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, yeah. So they start off the episode, and she's talking about Dale, and she says that she needs to find out if it's just excitement that's making her feel all of these things, or if there's something more. They show
vomit.
Yeah, they show a little bit of the guys. They kind of showed a guy, and he had a ton of pairs of shoes, and then he made a comment, and he was and he was only 7 days in the week, gotta switch it up.
Yeah.
And I was
that's my pretty boy.
And I was like, what? And I was like, it just reminded me of back in the day when I used to be obsessed with shoes, and I was always buying shoes. Remember Tuesday Shoes Day?
Yes. He's obsessed with just being Bennett.
Yeah, I was like, they're just really pushing him into that whole snob, New York fancy guy thing. They're just going all in on him.
Oh.
So,
excuse me.
Then Chris comes in asking the guys how it feel to came out, and how, hugging Claire with the state of the world. So that was their first physical pretty much thing that they were doing. And a couple of guys gave some of their thoughts on meeting her. Mm-hmm. And obviously everybody's giving out, positive answers, and they're excited to meet her, and they're still excited to spend some time with her. Chris goes right to Dale and asks him, since he received the first impression rose, asking him, I guess, some of his thoughts. And Dale said this quote that was the things you appreciate most in life are the things you work hardest for. And so I was kind of confused about that. I don't know. I feel like Dale is, and we see it happen a lot every time he talks. I feel like it's almost like he's quoting a book or something, or like if he's quoting some inspirational quote that he's heard before. It like all his lines seem like he's reading them out of a
like
playbook or something, kind of like that.
Like he wrote his own play.
Yeah. So since there's so much emphasis on Dale and stuff this season, I did a little background on him because, you know, it says that he was a former pro football player. So I was like, but we know a lot of the guys, they say like former pro football player, but they never actually played on a team and stuff like that. So I kind of did some background on him. If you're interested, if you're not interested, skip ahead 2 minutes, but I'm just going to briefly break down for you Dale's football career.
Oh no, I want to hear because, you know, this is her future husband. So
allegedly.
I really want to know. I want to know.
So Dale played basketball and football at South Dakota State, initially starring as a basketball player for the Jackrabbits. Even his college mascot is a step above the rest. Dale averaged 19 minutes and roughly 5.5 points per game throughout his 4-year career. His senior year, he joined the SDSU football team, where he totaled a much more notable 61 receptions for 949 yards and 6 touchdowns. Dale's brief college stint on the gridiron garnered him NFL interest, but the career of the 6'3", 215-pound wide receiver was short-lived. Dale signed as a free agent for the Green Bay Packers in 2012. After he was released, Dale joined the practice squads for the Chicago Bears and Tampa Bay Buccaneers before calling it a career. So I know that there was a thing, he signed on with the Green Bay Packers, and then they let him go, and then he did a bunch of practice squads, but he never actually played on the team in a season. He was either off season or practice squad, and then the Green Bay Packers signed him again and then let him go again. So I don't know whatever happened.
I can see it when he first stepped out of the limo. It's
like another Colton.
I thought MVP sports, you know, that guy in high school and in college that was like the big MVP, the one that everyone needed to look out for in the professional, you know, industry. So that's what I saw when he came out the limo. I'm not gonna deny. I mean, he looks good. He looks great on paper, and he looks great on, you know, eye candy. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
Yeah, so I wonder what he's doing now, because I guess he's not doing the football thing anymore. So I wonder what he does now. He's 32 years old, so
yeah, he's
still young. Yeah, he's still young. So I wonder what he's going to do next.
Right?
She's 39. He's 32. So that's 7 years. Yeah, 7-year age difference. It's really not that big of a deal. When you're in your 30s,
it depends how you age as a woman. I mean, if you marry someone who is 7 years younger than you, and you're the kind that'll age prematurely,
the kind that'll age.
No, because
age is not kind to you.
People that age prematurely.
What you
and
think?
If you age prematurely and he's still looking like he's 32 when they're in their 40s and 50s. And she looks like she'll age prematurely, unless she does some work on herself. You know, start looking somewhere else.
Okay.
You know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. So that was interesting. It made me wonder. So obviously he's not doing football right now. I wonder what he is doing, or what he is. He going to try to get back into football? He's
busy trying to be Claire's bachelor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this episode was really.
There were several moments that I felt like they were just so cringy.
There were several moments when I wanted to stop
I was like,
watching.
What the hell? And I was like, what's going on?
I felt like, what am I looking at?
The Bachelorette in all its glory.
This is the first time that I look at it and it's like, what am I watching, really?
A train wreck.
I said from the beginning.
You're watching
as soon as they said who was going to be the next Bachelorette, I said, why?
Yeah, I was just like,
I called it. So she's a train wreck.
Moving into the first group date. Yes, Chris. Saying her husband is definitely in the room is a big declaration on night one after only having met them out of the limo.
I know.
So after Chris says that, he drops the first date card on the table, and we have our first quarantine Bachelorette bubble group date. Yes. On this date was Riley, Jordan, Yosef, Ivan, Ben, Bennett, Zach C, Zach J, and Dale.
Of course.
And the date card said, I'm looking for a guy who speaks to my heart.
Of course she had Dale on there.
So guys meet Claire for the first date, and she says she was excited for this group of guys, and particularly that she picked Dale for it because she could not wait to see him again. So again, we keep getting things about sprinkled in about, you know, how much Dale is the person that she wants to see.
I was gagging.
Yeah, so group date was stepping through love languages. So a love language is how someone expresses and best receives love, which love language actually is very important in a relationship. So it's common that a big issue in relationships is that the two people relate in different love languages and they're just not expressing it to each other in the same way, or maybe somebody is expressing it the way that they receive love, but the other person doesn't necessarily feel love that way. So it's actually a common issue in relationships. So if you know each other's love language, you'll be able to communicate and have a healthier relationship.
Well, that's why a lot of people break up.
Yeah. So in the date, they started with words of affirmation. And again, I have a hard time with a lot of these guys because they put them up there and they're talking and stuff, but they don't show me their name. And I still at this point don't remember people's names, but I know one guy came up and he was talking about peeling back his layers for Claire, and she was like, be that onion.
Yeah, I don't know who that was either.
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was. And then obviously she was most excited to hear Dale, and he was, again, giving her this speech that I feel like I've read in a book, where he said he wants to give every part of him to her. And then she starts getting emotional, saying she's never heard those words from men before. So then that made me question, what kind of relationships has she been in? I'm like, you had never been in a relationship where somebody has expressed to you how they feel about you or said nice things to you? Because she kept saying, I've never had guys say nice things to me before.
I think she's full of it.
So I'm confused.
She's full of it because when she was on Paradise, did she not say the same thing about that guy?
What are you talking about? She says she's never heard nice things from somebody before.
I know.
Or that she's not used to guys saying nice things to her. Let me think. In Paradise, there was the one guy that was really into her.
Yeah, he said very nice things,
but she wasn't really into him.
Exactly. So she can't say that a guy has never told her nice things.
But that's one. She said often. She didn't say never.
Well, because the ones that do want to do,
she says she's not used to.
Well, because the ones that do want to say those nice things to her, she doesn't give them the chance.
Well, I don't blame her because the one guy in Paradise who was all over her was kind of a tool, a little bit, just a little bit.
So is she.
I was like,
you attract what you are.
I wouldn't have been into him either. So, where was I? So after they do the whole little thing of the guys doing the words of affirmation, then they showed them all running crazy to their rooms, and there was no context to it, but apparently it was because the next thing was gifts. So when it was funny when the guys were sitting there and they saw them running in, and then they saw Bennett running, and he was doing this
he looked like, how
jog.
This is exactly.
And then the guys were he's not even sweating, and he's just going smiling and jogging. I was like, what the heck?
This is exactly what I wrote.
That's me.
So they show the rest of the guys at the pool doing a belly flopping contest, when all of a sudden the guys from the date come running like a herd of animals that are in danger, and the last guy behind, Bennett, like the last antelope running with a stride with no sweat. How after the herd there's always this lost antelope that's behind, just striding.
Yeah.
That was Bennett.
Yeah.
No sweat, no nothing, acting why everybody running, and he's just
right. He's guys, it's not that big of a deal.
I was laughing at that. It was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. And then I was like, that would be me though.
And then Dale split his pants, so he had to change them.
Oh yeah.
They were like, Dale, dude, your pants.
He was too into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bennett was like, what's the rush, guys? We get there when we get there,
we get there when we get there.
Right? He's like, I am not going to run like a psychopath.
They all had to pick something.
But that would probably be me. I wouldn't run like a psychopath either. I'd be just like Bennett. And not sweating because I don't sweat.
I'll be the last one do, 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 do.
And I wouldn't be sweating because I don't sweat.
Same here.
Yeah. And it's 100 degrees where they are in La Quinta. So
who you telling? He running. He's like, I am not running. It's too hot for this crap.
So we find out the reason they're running like crazed animals is because they have to give her a gift.
Yeah.
So that was the next love language, was gifts. Or is it? I guess it's just gift giving or receiving gifts or whatever.
Yeah, it was picking something that
to give her as something, I don't know, I guess something that represented them or something like that.
Something like that. I don't know.
So this was one of my favorite ones. I really liked the ones that stood out to me were the guy who gave the baseball and the one who gave the chess piece. Those are my favorites.
Gave the baseball. The guy who gave the chess piece is the same one who she told peel your I like the peeling of the onion. I don't know who that guy is.
Is it Riley?
No, it's not right. Riley gave her the baseball.
Oh yeah, I really liked that.
Yes,
I love that. I was like,
I thought, whoa, that was deep. You do not give that to her. Okay, that goes to your mama.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, that's a little. That's
I would at the end of it, if she doesn't pick me, I'd be like, can I have my baseball back?
Imagine,
because that goes to my kid, my mom, my wife, back. The one that actually I marry.
Yeah, I was like, those are the kind of gifts that like really hit you in the heart,
What I liked about it was what he personally wrote on there when he was in school. Okay, so that's Riley's mentality. I am really impressed with Riley. I feel like he's one of the good candidates for her.
A lot.
I like him. I don't know. It's just something about him that's real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him trying hard. He's just like straight out real and to the point. And I like that. I
loved his story.
I really like him. And what his baseball said was, don't complain. Figure it out.
I love that.
I was like,
loved it.
Braingasm.
Loved it.
At high school or middle school, whenever he was playing ball, to write something like that on his baseball, that was his mentality of where he was going in life. So
exactly,
this isn't those kind of guys that just let a woman take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
He likes taking care of people.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
do.
He's one of my tops. Like
he is my top.
Like
too.
If I had a list of like top guys, he would
like
be
Riley.
Like, he would
you
be
have
up
my
there.
number.
Yeah, Riley would be up there. But yeah, I really loved his. And actually, there were a lot of ones. They were kind of like going through them really quick, so I didn't necessarily write down every little thing.
Yeah, like the guy with the chess piece.
Yeah, but a lot of them, I really felt like, usually in The Bachelorette, when they do stuff like this, we kind of get a lot of like stupid stuff or a lot of gag things. So, not necessarily, people don't take it so seriously, and like maybe one or two will. But literally every single guy actually was giving something that was, had a story behind it, and actually was, like opening up like themselves, except for Dale.
That's what I was gonna say. So what is Dale's it was giving?
A perfume for dogs.
He gave her a perfume, and it wasn't for her, it was for dogs, her dogs.
Yeah, I was like, he knows she loves her dogs, but it wasn't personal to him. I feel like he just catered it to her. It's like, oh, she loves dogs, let me give her something for her dogs. So there's the pleaser.
He is a charmer
and the pleaser.
And so he's just gonna focus on things that he knows is gonna make her go good.
I'm like, how is she still? I was like, how do you go from like Riley and the baseball and like the deep story and like and then Dale gives you perfume for dogs and you're still like more goo goo gaga over him than the other guys. I don't get it.
And they're both handsome men. Like they look good.
All the guys,
both of them, body,
all the guys there. I have to say,
face. But Riley has it all. He is what you would call that total package. Yeah,
I was gonna say the full package.
You know what? She doesn't deserve him anyway.
No,
he deserves to be with a woman who appreciates his total package.
Maybe he should be the next. He should be
the next bachelor.
But yeah,
seriously,
we're just going off with a little bit. So
just let her go. Let him go so he could be the next bachelor.
I know. I was like, really? That was so.
I would really love to see him being the bachelor.
There were a lot. I had to say, the highlight of the season and of this episode are the guys, really. Yes, the guys are the highlight. I had to say, Claire's not the highlight for me. It's the men.
I want to know about all of the guys. I really don't want to know any more about her.
I want to hear like the guy stories, because I feel like a lot of the guys there are like gems.
In this episode, she really showed who she really is. And she is hot-headed. She's pretty immature. And I'm leaving it at that. Moving on.
Yeah. And very surface level.
Very.
Next, so yeah, we'll get into it, because the next love language was physical touch. And I was just thinking, how awkward is it that they're having her do this like in front of all the other guys?
Yeah.
Like you couldn't have made it a little bit less awkward. And so they put on like blindfolds, and I guess they were just like touching each other. And then there was this awkward moment between Zach J and her, where he was like talking about how he's big on smell, and then she says she's big on smell, and then she says she could tell who it is by like the way that they smell.
She's like, it's so weird that I've only gotten to know you guys for a little bit, but I already know by the smell who you are.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's weird.
She gets that from her dogs.
And right? Yeah, you know, a dog knows everybody by their scent.
Exactly.
That's true.
She gets
That's
that from
true.
her dogs.
And then Zach J made a comment. He was like, I was a stinky 12-year-old and I never made that mistake again. And I thought that was hilarious. So I guess I was thinking.
It stood in my head, my grandma.
Was it his grandma? Yeah.
He's like, my grandma instilled in me that I must smell good all the time.
And then obviously.
Kind of what Irene does with Boo Boo.
Yeah. And then obviously Dale came in and, you know, it got very awkwardly intimate and weird. And yeah, I was like, I feel like this is not something. This is
they needed it. I was like, they need to get a room,
right?
Yo, and it made all the guys feel so uncomfortable because she did not do that with any of them.
I know,
but she did it with him. She kept whispering. No, she had.
I was like, yo, what is she like? Dry humping him in front of all the other guys? That was so awkward. She was making these like noises.
I was like, oh my gosh, she just has sex with him.
I was like, does she not like? Hello, there's other people there in the room, other guys in the room with you.
The guys were like, which, understandably, I mean, somebody should have just said, listen, you know, when they get to the cocktail moment.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get to that because the last love language was quality time, which was being saved for the evening cocktail party because, you know, in the cocktail party, they're supposed to get quality time alone with her to talk. So the first group date evening cocktail party and my official first super cringy moment of the episode. So Claire says Dale's the guy she likes the most right now and that it comes so natural to her. And for me, because you were saying a lot of like how much like you were disliking her in the episode and everything and you couldn't stand her, and I was like, I think the hardest part for me to get through right now is that giggle that she does when she's like talking to the guy. She does
Thank you.
And then her voice goes up and like her voice is going up every time she talks to the guys, but specifically with Dale, it's like she becomes
like this
a
little
whole different
schoolgirl
person.
It's like, oh my God, you're so cute.
Yeah, her voice goes up several octaves and she does this giggle that's very weird. And, you know, we've heard her laugh normally and then we hear her and then
she's fake. Yeah.
She's like, it's like she'll talk in the interviews and then like she'll talk to the guy and then it's like her voice changes and like, I don't know. That's the hardest part for me right now is the the going up the octave and the weird giggle.
I'm sorry. She is like, they say she's the oldest Bachelorette, but the most immature Bachelorette.
Yeah.
I have not seen any of the Bachelorettes act like that.
So,
with any of the guys that they liked.
So then obviously, you know, after we have this little moment here, Claire comes out for the evening cocktail party, sits with the guys, and it gets very awkwardly quiet. She came over, she did like a little toast, and then everybody sat there and it was very quiet and awkward. I was like, none of the guys were trying to pull her aside. Like usually, you know, when they do the cocktail party and the Bachelorette sits down, usually she sits down and someone's immediately like, oh my God, let me go like steal you for a minute.
They start stealing.
Nobody was trying to steal Claire.
Nobody.
She had to actually speak up and say, anybody want to step up to the plate?
Okay.
And Bennett.
This is where I'm like, if I would have been one of the guys, I would have been like, well, don't you want to spend more time with Dale?
Yeah.
Or, you know, do you need a cigarette with that cup of wine? Because
that was weird.
You just had sex with him and now you want us to pull you. You know, it's like we're on a group date. You just had sex with him in front of us with clothes on, mind you. But it was like disgusting to see it. And now you want us to pull. They didn't have that energy.
Yeah, they were. I feel like they were all
and then they do the cricket sound.
Yeah, the guys were very off put after.
She was like, this is so awkward.
Yeah, so then after she asked if anyone's going to step up to the plate, Bennett goes ahead and takes the opportunity, pulls her aside, and then he's trying to like talk to her and have a conversation with her, even though I could tell like I felt like he was even kind of forcing the conversation, but he's, you know, trying to talk to her and everything. Like she pretty much had to ask somebody to pull her aside to talk to her. So Bennett did it, and then she starts going like, oh, nobody wants to hang out with me today. And then the guys are like, oh, well, you know, we all just had such a good time. We're just hanging. We thought we would all talk or whatever. And she's like, did I interrupt the bromance? And then like Bennett's talking to her and she's pretty much just not listening to anything he says because apparently she's so,
instead of just focusing with him,
she's so disturbed that nobody wanted to, that nobody like was jumping to pull her aside. And then she goes, oh, I'm sorry, I can't concentrate and focus on having this conversation with you because I'm just like so stuck on how it was awkward, and that she's embarrassed that she had to ask somebody to step up. And I was like, really? To me, this is the part where I do see the immaturity, because it's like, okay, get over it. Bennett went ahead and took the opportunity, pulled you aside. Why not focus on the guy who's right there who wants to talk to you and try to have that conversation, try to have that connect. Instead he's trying to like talk to her, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just too bothered by the fact that nobody jumped out of their seat to pull me aside.
That's the ego.
So then I know. So then she's
on TV. Oh my God, she's being embarrassed on TV. I need to address this. So excuse you, because what you're saying is not interesting to me right now, because I need to go make a point. Like, seriously? And then when he said, well, to be fair, the guys were like, I guess in a deep conversation or something before she walked in, and she's like, oh, so you're having a bro moment. I was like, oh yeah, my God, she is not doing this. I think what mostly hurt her, and she didn't say it or admit it, was that I think that mostly hurt her, and she didn't want to say and admit it, is that Dale wasn't the first one to get up and pull her ass. But you know what?
That is exactly what I was going to say.
He didn't, because he feels like he's safe.
Yeah.
So he was giving the other guys the opportunity to get to know her.
I see that. Yeah.
That's why he didn't. And that's what hurt her. It wasn't that because the guys didn't jump up. It was because he didn't jump up.
Yeah, because I feel
she just don't want to say it because she doesn't want to hurt his feelings. So she just threw it out there to all of them.
I was going to say, are you pissed that none of the guys pulled you aside, or are you pissed that Dale didn't pull you aside?
I was like, she's just pissed that Dale didn't jump up.
I think part of it is, one, nobody did it, but what really like sealed the deal was that Dale in particular was there and that he didn't.
Oh my God, when she came out and confronted everybody.
I was like thinking in my head, this is the most ridiculous, Yosef. I was like, yo, this is the most ridiculous confrontation I have ever seen happen, that you're going to go in there and exclaim that you are so upset that nobody bothered to pull you aside.
That was childish.
But needless to say, the way that the guys handled it. So Yosef tries to say something. He's like, well, speaking for the group. And then she was like, well, don't speak for the group.
And then Riley was like, don't speak for me, please.
And then Riley was like, let's not do that. I feel like
let's not do that. This isn't a classroom.
Well, that's true.
Everybody needs to defend themselves, Don't speak for the group.
I felt like that was the dumbest argument of all time, though. It was the dumbest argument of all time.
Yo, but Joseph got up and said, you're crazy to think that we're not all here for you. Like, really? We just left everything behind, went through all this freaking quarantine, and you're going to stand there and say we're not here for you?
Did you see Claire's face when he said, I think the word crazy triggered her.
Yeah.
I think the word crazy triggered her because people are always saying she's crazy.
Well, she is.
And he said crazy, and she was like, did he
see her eyes?
Her eyes like grew 5 times, and she was like, he did not just say crazy.
She looked like a turtle when a turtle is trying to put their head back into
He didn't call you crazy.
Body.
He just said,
this is crazy.
You're crazy to think that we didn't all come here for you.
Yeah, but I think he personally called her crazy.
At first, when I was watching it, I was like, who is that? And then as the conversation progressed, I realized, they said his name. And I was like, that's Yosef that did that.
I think he meant to call her crazy because he emphasized crazy.
When he said that,
I was like,
she was about to like get in a huge argument with him. And then Dale went ahead and like trapped her and pulled her aside.
You. And then when they go back there, she's like, actually, you're the one that I wanted to spend time with.
I was like, Dale,
that's what's it.
I'm like, Dale, here's the warning. Here's the thing. There will probably be a lot of futures of you having to pull her aside from ridiculous confrontations. I was like, I don't know. I just felt like the whole thing was really dumb.
It was.
I didn't feel like it was necessary to have to address all the guys that nobody jumped out of their seat to grab her. Especially with how awkward you ended the physical touch portion of the date. I would be thrown off by it too. I'm not going to be jumping to grab you to pull you aside when I just saw you. The way that you and Dale were on each other.
Everybody sat there waiting for Dale to be the one to get up because of the way they ended that touch thing. And then Dale didn't want to get up because he wanted to give the other guys a chance, He's like, I got her, but I just want her to make sure that she's, where she wants to be with me.
So, yeah.
And then for her to declare to him how she's feeling so soon.
Yeah, that's true.
That was so wrong to me.
Yeah, when he pulled her aside from having the unnecessary escalated argument, pulls her aside, they have the conversation, all of a sudden her whole demeanor changes and she's happy again because, you know, she's with Dale. And you know, there goes her voice changing, and she says that Dale scares her because of how quickly she's developing feelings for him, and Dale says he feels the same way. And, you know, obviously everybody, what we're all thinking is just like, how can you like be saying you have all these deep feelings when you've known each other for like 1 hour, if that?
And he confirmed the deep feelings as well.
I was like confused. So back at the house, the guys are saying it's Clare time and time is of the essence. And I always think about when you say the thing, time is of the essence. Yeah. So another date card arrives and it's a one-on-one with Jason. And the card says, love will set us free. Meanwhile, back at the cocktail party, Clare and Zach have a conversation. He asks, how did she get here? She talked about coming on the show 6 years ago as a way to get out of an abusive relationship. And she acknowledged that low self-esteem is what kept bringing her back to the relationship. She said she knows she had the greatest heart and she wants to share that with a man. And I was like, here's where I will share my take. I feel like there is obviously still growing that hasn't happened.
Yes.
And that needs to happen, because my biggest like trigger is that you shouldn't feel like you need to have a man or another person in your life to complete you.
Exactly.
Or to complete your life. You should be able to be perfectly happy, and you have to be like in love with yourself first before you can have another person, you know, in your life. True. And I feel like she's still looking for somebody to like give her life like purpose again, or to complete her life,
or for like an affirmation,
or she's still, or I don't know, she is very like, you know, obviously she went, you know, she lost her father, which is terrible, and she talks about it, you know, later on, and I can't imagine what that's like, you know, losing her father and all that. I mean, you can relate, but you know, so she lost her father and everything, and obviously her father was a big figure in her life. He was somebody that she like really looks like, that she looked at. I mean, it's very clear how important her father is to her in her life. And I feel like it's like this hole, and she's looking for a guy that emulates her dad to like fill that hole. But no guy is going to live up to your dad, you know?
Exactly. And that's the problem right there, is how she's looking for love. She's looking for it in the wrong way, which is why she always ends up picking the wrong guys.
And she's also very stuck on, she always talks a lot about what she doesn't want.
Exactly.
Which, you know, we talk about like manifestations and stuff like that. When you never talk about what you don't want. You only talk about what you do want. And to get what you want, you have to put out what you want.
Exactly.
So you have to put out the energy to attract the thing that you're looking for.
Exactly.
And if you're constantly harping on the things that you don't want or past experiences, you're going to keep attracting those things back to you.
As we all know, with the law of attraction,
you have to be in the right like frame of mind.
The law of attraction does not recognize I want or I don't want. It just recognizes what you're putting out there.
I'm like, at least we have some, you know, like self-awareness in a sense, like at least being able to recognize, you know, that she had low self-esteem, that's what was bringing her back to bad relationships in the past and stuff. And so obviously there is, you know, she's doing some self-reflecting, you know, she's not completely unaware of herself.
But the thing is, it looks like she's in the early stage of that, because
I feel like she has a journey she still needs to go on.
Like she takes 4 steps forward and then jumps back 3.
I feel like she has a journey that still needs to happen. Yeah. Like there's something in her that she still needs to.
There's a lot of red flags. I call those red flags before this even started.
It comes out a lot because she's talking about low self-esteem, but I'm like, the insecurity kind of came out in the unnecessary, in the confrontation. I don't know. And you see it come out little bits here and there. Yeah. So Riley gets some quality time with her. He apologizes for not jumping out of his seat to grab her, and he says it will never happen again. So I suspect that from now on he's going to be more jumping out to grab her. Yeah. So he's not going to, you know, he says he's not going to hold it back anymore. And then he slow dances with her, asks her what she looks for in a husband, and she says she wants someone who appreciates her assertiveness and physical touch, and then kisses him, and then they both forgot the subject of the conversation. So,
but here's the thing.
And then I was like, yo, when he was dancing with her, I was like, dang, I never noticed before. You see how buff this man is?
Heck yeah.
He had like, good. He got these like huge muscles. I was like, whoa.
Yes, he is. That's what I said. He is the total package.
I was like, yo, he is built.
I'm like, he looked good. He's got a body on him. You know, he's like the total package.
Yeah, he was like holding her with these bulging muscles.
I mean, if you really listen to everything the guys are saying, they're constantly saying like, okay, I'm not going to hold back anymore.
Yeah.
They're constantly telling her that because it's like they feel like they can feel she's not there for them. They can listen, a person knows when another person is attracted to somebody. You can feel the heat between people and you know. So it's keeping them back from getting to know her or jumping out at these chances to pull her and talk to her because they feel it. So they're constantly, every time she makes a point of it, that's when they start saying, okay, it'll never happen. I won't hold myself back anymore.
I was going to say, because there's those little things that are happening, and it's like a glimpse of probably what we're going to see happen later on the season.
Probably.
That, you know, the guys see her with Dale, see that it's very different. It makes them feel, you know, like insecure, or you know, like maybe they don't have a chance, so they kind of step back, but then they have a one-on-one with her and it like changes their mind, their perspective. They have a conversation, they open up, and then they start to feel like more secure. But I think every time they see her with Dale is gonna be like, but really,
every time they see the way she is with him and not with them, that's when they start pulling back,
because usually it's not that obvious to everybody. You know,
like they can say, oh, it looks like they're having a little bit of attraction, let me walk in there and separate this. But their attraction is so different, strong that none of the guys want to go in there to separate that. That's when they start feeling that insecurity of, why are we here?
To me, she said what's her most important stuff is words of affirmation and physical touch. She's a big physical touch and words of affirmation person. I think she's more so words of affirmation than physical touch. Like she has to hear the words and then the touch. And you know, those are her two big things. She needs
the affirmations more.
Like constant affirmation. Like remember when we had the conversation, she constantly needs to be reassured. I talked about this again. I'm bringing back another podcast we did where I broke down her zodiac sign. She constantly needs that assurance in a relationship.
She does. And, you know, I don't know. It's just, to me, these guys went through a lot to be there. They really, really did. And it looks like she's fakingly trying. But I think if it was up to her,
I'm still trying to figure it out.
I think if it was up to her, she would just turn around and say, okay, I got the guy that I want. Everybody else can go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out because then other things happen that confuse me. So for the group date, Riley gets the group date rose.
Yes, he does.
And then Dale was saying, you know, obviously he wanted it, but you know, he can't always get the rose. After the date, Yosef said that her response was hot-headed and immature, and that she is not living up to what he thought of her when he came into the whole thing.
Let me tell you, every time they show him talking, he's putting her down.
Yeah, I know. Everything he says is like, no.
But here's the thing.
I mean,
he's
but
saying
there's like some
that
truth,
we're saying.
But there's like truth behind what he's saying.
He's seeing everything that we're talking about.
But here's the thing. There may be truth behind what he's saying.
He's just straight out.
And we have yet to see how this conversation is going to happen between him and Claire. But
it reminds me
it depends
a little bit of
how he says what he is thinking. It depends how he has that conversation.
Yeah.
Because you may very well feel a certain way about a person, but you're crossing a fine line between like being truthful and being disrespectful.
Well,
and you don't need to be disrespectful.
Joseph is like,
it's Yosef.
He's like the nicer version of,
must be a Leo.
What's his name?
Chad.
He's the nicer version of Chad.
Oh, nobody wants to be Chad.
And he also's kind of like Juan Pablo. He's like got this mixture of both of them.
I would say maybe a little bit more Juan Pablo.
Yes. And he's straight out. And he feels like, am I here wasting my time? Like, I just left my kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he has a daughter.
Yeah. He's like, I just left my kid for this, for her.
Oh yeah,
she's immature.
He's the one I questioned on day one. Like, really, you left your daughter in the middle of a pandemic?
Yes.
And moving on.
Yes. And now he's starting to realize, like, wait a minute, what the heck did I do? And it's like he even said it. It's like every time he gets to be around her, the more he's around her, the more red flags keep going up.
Yeah.
And he's like, for a 39-year-old bachelorette, she's sure not acting like a mature woman. She's acting like a very immature person. And that's a lot of red flags for me. And I'm starting to wonder if I made the right decision. Like, maybe I need to go home.
Yeah.
Somebody asked him, well, are you going to talk to her about this? And he said,
yes. Said, yeah. I am. Yeah, that happened later.
Did I jump ahead
after the
far?
dodgeball? Yeah, that happened after the dodgeball date. Yeah, because at this point
like,
he's okay. So at this point, after the first group date, after the first group date, he made that he was like making he's starting to see things
about the dodgeball.
Yeah. After the first group date, he's having the thing of like, okay, I'm starting to kind of have red flags because of the way she came out and addressed everything. Yes. That's where we see the hot-headedness and a slight lack of maturity.
She did act like a hot-headed woman.
So. Then moving on, we have our first one-on-one with Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And now here's the thing. Jason, I'm pretty sure, kissed her night 1, but they didn't show it in episode 1, which I thought was weird. But when you watch the preview of her season, remember she went outside and they were hitting this arcade game.
Yes.
And it was like first kiss, but they didn't show them kissing. They kissed.
They did?
Yes, they did.
Why didn't they show it?
I don't know. It was in the preview even.
That's what I thought when she said, first kiss of the night. And I thought,
so Jason
he's
was
getting the first
actually,
kiss, but then they didn't show anything. So I thought, I guess
Jason was actually the first kiss. Yeah. It was actually Jason. Now, why on earth would they cut out Jason's first kiss? And here's the thing. And even on the date, they didn't show them kissing.
Again?
Yeah, they didn't show them kissing on this date. Now, I don't know, I don't recall a preview that showed them kissing, but what's weird is that they're showing, like, you're getting to know him, right? Mm-hmm. Notice you're getting to know him, but you're not seeing any intimacy being shown between him and Claire.
No.
And here is a possible...
It was just a simple friend date.
Yep. Here's a possible reason why. Let me just set it up for you, okay? Jason is going to be a big player in Tayshia's when she comes in to replace Claire as the Bachelorette. That's the only reason I could see why you would cut out the kiss, remove the intimacy.
But it happened.
Only if he's going to develop a relationship with Tayshia and get far with her. They don't want to show him having 2 romantic relationships, like him being intimate with Claire and then also being intimate like with Tayshia. It wouldn't
then why show on
because
a clip
it might
that they
ruin.
Kissed?
I don't know, because I don't think maybe they necessarily knew where it was going to end yet or how it was going to go about, or they were just needing to put things in the preview. But like in the preview, they didn't show his face or anything, so you couldn't like really see it was him. But the tattoo is what gave it away. The tattoo on his arm gave away that it was him.
Here's the thing, though. I think if Tayshia comes in, I think she'll be more mature. Even though
I think she would do leaps
I guess
and
because
bounds
of Paradise,
better.
I kind of don't like her. Because,
I don't know. I kind of like her.
Well, it was the way she acted with what's his face?
She was with JPJ.
Yeah,
John Paul
JPJ.
Jones. Come on, it was JPJ.
Well, I know, but she kind of
for the record, she tried
down to his level.
Yeah, she tried to step away from him,
and that was like, ugh.
She tried to step away from him, and then he pulled her back in.
And
I was
like, really? You're bringing yourself down to that level? It's like that couple that you're like disgusted by.
Well, maybe
that's what they were to me. They were like this couple that
she's
just
gonna have
disgusted me.
She's gonna have a comeback.
But I feel if she does come in, I think I would finish seeing the season with her.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be so, because I think she's gonna be more mature.
Yeah.
And
I'm already picking
her with Riley.
I was gonna say I'm already picking out for her Riley, Jason, Easy.
If she's changed, I could see her with Riley.
Obviously not Yosef. I don't think he's gonna.
I don't think Yosef. I can't say his name.
Even though Yosef
is
going
to stick around.
Even though Yosef might be giving some truth bombs, I still think he's like, there's arrogance under there that just isn't gonna go.
Well, he's arrogant. Well, wouldn't you be arrogant? Okay, first off,
not like that.
Okay, but listen. First off, you leave your kid behind.
I wouldn't do that.
You go through 2, not 1, but 2 quarantines.
It was 1 quarantine.
No.
For 2
weeks. It was 2
or something like that.
Because Chris said you guys went through 2 quarantines, all this checkup for corona. So you guys went through a lot. So it must have meant a lot when you met.
Yeah.
Claire. because, you know, you haven't had any physical or anything with anybody in those quarantine. Like nothing. No phone, no computer, nothing.
Right.
So you leave your kid, you go through 2 quarantines, you have all this stuff stuck up your nose to get the test results, okay? So all this discomfort, no phone, no computer, nothing, which still gets me, how did they communicate? And then on top of that, you get out the limo, and he obviously was attracted to her. Yeah, you can see it when he gets out the limo. He was attracted.
Yeah.
But you go on the first group date, okay? And then you see how she's focused on Dale. Every time she spoke, she mostly looked at him. The physical touching went to the next level, and I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but they had sex in the open.
Oh my God.
And then she comes out hot-headed and pretty much yells at all of them, okay?
And when he did try to speak, she was like, don't speak for the group.
And then he didn't mean like, you're crazy, like, cuckoo loco, tu ta loca, but you're crazy to think. It was just a simple comment.
Yeah.
Now, I can understand her part because she's been through an abusive relationship and people keep calling her crazy, and I can see how she would snap and whatever. But still, put yourself in his shoe. He sees things. He's a very good observer.
I see from all sides.
So I would be acting like him too.
Well,
she didn't even give him the time of day.
Yeah, and I was like, after that, I probably don't see anything happening from, like, there's pretty much no point going on after that.
Nothing.
So for me, I'd be like, deuces.
I would be pissed.
I'd be like, peace out.
I would really, really, really be pissed. And I won't be surprised if he's the one that goes off on her, and that's when he says, you know, for a 39-year-old, you sure act like an immature person. And she's like, he's the reason why.
That's definitely what's going to happen.
I don't put up with guys like him. I'm like...
That's definitely going to happen in the next episode.
He's the one.
Yeah, it's between her and Yosef.
And he leaves.
For certain,
and I'm pretty sure he leaves. Now, whether he comes back, if... What's her name again?
Tasha.
I'm sorry, Tasha. Now, if he comes back, for her, I don't know. I wouldn't come back.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't come back. Because everything that you go through, you know?
Like, really going to go through that again?
Yeah.
More quarantine again.
I would be like, nope, I'm
again.
going back to my kid and I'm staying with my kid.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, after the Yosef tangent, back on to Jason one-on-one. Claire wrote Jason a little note for their date and challenges him to open up, and that she wants him to write a letter to his younger self, and that she will too. And I was like, yo, that's deep for a first date. You want to write letters to your younger selves? That's some deep stuff.
It is.
And turns out, I guess it was the perfect date for him because he has a hard time opening up. So obviously this is going to challenge him. Claire says that she would make a lot of jokes and smile and everything, and it was a way to cover up her deeper issues that she had, and it made her wonder if maybe Jason is the same way because she noticed that in him, or she, I guess, like kind of saw herself in him. And so in that sense, she was right. It turns out he totally like resonated with what she said. He was like, yes, that's like exactly how I am. Like, you're pretty much speaking to my soul right now. And she did talk about her exit from Juan Pablo's season, how she felt ashamed that she allowed herself to be treated that way, and how important it was for her when she spoke up at the end. So then they get up and do this awkward thing where they scream into the mountains.
Oh, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, she was like, I think we both needed this therapy. And then the next part, this was like my favorite part of the date, which was when they had, I don't know if it was a mirror or something, and they were writing down like words that have hurt them the most, that get to you mirror. Because there's a part of you that sees truth in them.
It was the mirror, so they can see the
I
truth
think it was a mirror.
as they were writing.
Yeah. And I was like, everybody knows the hardest thing is to hold a mirror up to yourselves, and even harder when somebody else holds a mirror up to you. And it's true. It's like when people say things to you, most of the time you can like brush it off and stuff like that. But what are the things that hurt you the most? And it's like something that we all have to think about. It's like, you know, when you're receiving comments and stuff from people, like, you know, even if you're someone who's online and people leave comments to you, and, you know, like there's stuff you can ignore. And then there's the comments that just like get to you, or there's certain things that people say and they just get to you. And we have to look at ourselves and see, why is this comment like affecting me so hard? And it's usually because, whether you want to admit it or not, there's a part of you that believes the comment to be true, and that's why they stick so hard in our head.
That's
exactly
why, like, what I was gonna say.
That's why this segment, like when they did that, I was like, that hit me so hard, because I think that's so true.
It is. I mean,
when we are hurt by something or someone, we have to look at it and see why. Like, why does this affect me? Why is this making me, you know, feel this way? And it's because there's a part of ourselves that sees that this is something that is true about us.
Absolutely.
And it's like holding the mirror to yourself and seeing, you know.
That's why they were holding the mirror to themselves, so they can see who their true selves are. When you can see yourself and you can see all your faults and you can see all your good stuff, I mean, you want to see your faults because you want to fix it, but you want to focus on your good, okay? Yeah. So that when people do make those comments, it doesn't bother you because you worked on it.
There's this thing I read. I don't know if it's like a scientific thing or something like that, where it says that even like when you look in a mirror, you're not really seeing the true you. You're seeing like a distorted image of yourself.
Yes.
And, you know, that's where like a lot of like body dysmorphia and stuff like that comes in. You know, you look in the mirror, you see yourself 20 pounds or 100 pounds more than like you really are and stuff like that.
That is why,
and you know, I struggle with picture. I know I struggle with that myself, you know, so I can relate to that. You know, you see things differently like than other people see. A lot of times we're harder on ourselves than other people are, and other people say things and you can't see them in yourselves and stuff like that. And
like when they say,
it's like a scientific thing that even when you look in the mirror, you're not necessarily really seeing the truth.
That's true.
You know, just you have to kind of take it with like a grain of salt.
This is why when you look at yourself in a picture, you're like, who's that? What? That's me?
Yeah.
What? That it's not who you see. It's not who you see.
No.
So that's why even sometimes you don't recognize yourself in a picture.
I know. Sometimes I have to.
It's weird because it's you.
Yeah. It's very weird. I'm like, that's not how I look when I look in the mirror.
That's why there's people that don't have mirrors.
You have to ask yourself, I wonder, what's more accurate, the person I see in the mirror or the person I see in the picture? And then sometimes the person I see in the mirror is better than the person in the picture. Sometimes the person in the picture is better than the person in the mirror.
Exactly.
And then I wonder, would I like, if it was the same exact person who looked completely identical to me and I was looking at a picture of that person, would I be seeing it and judging it the same way as if I knew that picture was me?
No. Here's the thing. When you look at another person, unless you're just a mean person, but when you look at another person, you're like, oh, they're pretty. You know, like they're pretty. Yeah. Or I wish I had skin like that. Or I wish I had. And when they look at you, they're like, what are you talking about? You're pretty. You got nice skin. No,
yeah, that happens all the time.
We always see our imperfections. And then because we see imperfections, they're bigger than what we see them for. Like, what? You don't see that pimple? And everybody's like, I don't see the pimple. Yeah. And so you like microscope it. And they're like, oh, that pimple. But you see it as this huge mountain on your face. You know what I mean? So we always amplify our imperfections. And that's why other people see our beauty that we don't see. And that's why there's people who do not have mirrors in their home and they refuse to look in a mirror. No, I'm not kidding. Well, there are people that refuse to look in the mirror because they don't want to pick at themselves.
Yeah. Well, I do the same thing. I don't like looking. I don't look at myself in the mirror.
To do what I don't do that.
Get out. I would be like, oh, you don't stand there like looking at yourself in the mirror. I'm like, no, I don't do that. Even like when I was at work, you know, they have all these. Yes, when I used to work, they had all these mirrors all over the place, and people will always be looking at themselves in the mirror and stuff, and going up and around.
I just wash my hand and walk out.
And I remember having a conversation, and I was like, I don't know. I think I went through the whole day and I had like something sticking out of my hair or whatever. Anyways, I went to the bathroom eventually and looked at myself like way after, like towards the end of the day. And I was like, dang, I've been walking around looking like that the whole day. And then someone was like, really? You don't like look at yourself? There's mirrors everywhere. You don't like check to see what you look like? I'm like, no, I don't.
I'm not like those other people that stop at every
I know, they're always trying to look at themselves and look at their hair and everything like that.
Then you pay them a compliment and they're like, what? I don't look like that. I'm ugly. Really? So why are you always in the mirror?
I know.
Because I'm ugly. I gotta constantly fix myself.
No. Like, that's not me. No. I've never, like, if there's a mirror, I don't stop in it to look at myself. I just keep going.
No.
I try not to look at myself.
Yeah.
This is my thing. I was like, I try as much as I can to not look at myself unless, you know, I'm doing like my makeup or something, then I'm going to look at myself when I'm doing my makeup or my hair and everything. But other than that, after I like decide I'm good and I go out for the day, I don't want to be constantly looking at myself because I just said this thing in my head that I'm like, other people are probably seeing me better than I see myself. So I'm just going to go like just try to live through the other people's eyes and not mine.
Exactly.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Let's just leave it like that.
Yeah. I was like, let's just leave it at that.
That's
if that even makes any sense. Anyways, so back to the one-on-one. We keep going off on tangents.
I know.
But this one-on-one date made me fall in love with Jason. Jason's words on the mirror were manipulative, selfish, can't love, insecure, cold, and mean. I'm like, who told him that? And then Claire's words were needy, hard to love, too picky, and I'm a bitch. Those are hers. That's really what it was.
You know,
and then she asked,
this is sad, but I think those are the words that she keeps embedding in her mind from that abusive relationship. She did state that relationship was more verbal abuse
my
than
thing was,
physical.
who tells somebody that they're hard to love? Who says that?
An abusive person, they will tell you that. They will constantly drill that in your head so that you won't go looking for love anywhere and you're stuck with them. So, like, I'm the only one that puts up with you because you are too hard to love.
That is very abusive to say that to somebody, to beat them down, to think, to make, that's like trying to make you feel like you're worthless, pretty much.
That's what they do. They beat you until you feel like you're worth nothing, and then you don't have anywhere to go but to be with him or her. Because even women abuse men mentally too.
Or women abuse women, or men abuse men.
Yeah. So when she wrote those words, I felt bad for her because I was like, wow, she still has those words from that relationship and she needs to let it go. She needs to write those words. You know what? Putting it in the mirror was the first step. Second step, they should have wrote it down and they should have burned it.
Well, what they did was they like smashed the mirror, which I was like, bad okay, luck. 7 years of bad luck for both of you. You're not supposed to break the mirror. But
the second step, they should have just burned it in a piece of paper. And as it's burning, it just needs to leave your mind.
Yeah. And then she asked him, do you ever believe the words that people told you about yourself? And he said, all the time.
That's sad. That's sad.
Yeah. So then, you know, obviously we talked about how they threw the mirrors and they shattered them on the rocks. And then Jason said she made him feel very comfortable. He felt at ease. Then they sat down together and they read each other the letters that they wrote their younger self. And most important part of healing, Claire says, is facing the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that both of their letters were beautiful. And, you know, again, like you're saying in her letter, that's where you really see, okay, this is somebody who's been through a lot. So, you know, abusive relationships, losing her father, her mother currently suffering with dementia. And then, you know, obviously she's very much in the media. She's getting a lot of media attention. I'm sure there's a lot of not nice things that are being said about her. So, you know, she's going through a lot, obviously. And then Jason talks about wanting to be alone and how he was somebody who like never wanted to open up. And then he went on a little rant where he was kind of like talking about like his past and not wanting to open up and going around and doing this and that and like never, I guess pretty much like having very low standards for himself and in any kind of relationship that he somewhat had, but it didn't sound like he really had any relationships. It was like, hey, nice to see you, nice to do you, out the door kind of deal.
Yeah. It's like, let me break up with you before you break up with me.
Yeah. And when he was talking, he was like saying it in like this flow and they were playing that music in the background. And I was like, why does it sound like he's doing like a rap right now? I was like, I feel like I'm on some Eminem, like, I don't know, music type stuff. It sounded like he was rapping. I was like, they should put like a beat to that because then it could be like, it felt like he was freestyling. Anyways. So Claire said that the words on her glass were the types of men she dated in the past. Or sorry, the words on Jason's glass were the type of men that she's dated in the past. And the manipulative, selfish, can't love, insecure, cold, and mean. And I was like, Jason was being completely honest and open, and he put it on the table. You know, he didn't try to like sugarcoat his past. He didn't try to say that he was something he wasn't. He was like straight up, this is how I used to be. This is how I used to act. And so I actually really like that about him. You know, he could have made himself sound good, but he put it all out on the table. There was like no sugarcoating, no lying. This is how I acted. This is how I used to be. And then, you know, this isn't the man I'm today. He talked about his childhood and, you know, the stuff that he saw growing up and the very toxic, unhealthy relationship he watched his parents be in. And he talks about, you know, that's his past, and he's, you know, went through that, and now he's the man that he is today, you know.
This is where I say, you know, this is a really good group of men, okay? These aren't the kind of men that I'm used to seeing on The Bachelorette.
I know.
These are a good group of men. I don't know where they pull them out. I don't know if it's this pandemic that brought out these great men, but she didn't deserve to be there.
Yeah, and then
because it's just, to me, it's a waste.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, he got deep.
Not to say she doesn't deserve love. She deserves love, but she wasn't ready to be the Bachelorette.
Claire deserves love when Claire actually feels that she deserves love. Exactly. And I don't know if she's there yet.
I don't think she's.
I don't know.
She needs work.
Of course, Claire gave Jason the date rose. And then they ended off the date with her. She still had the freaking dress that she wore at the JP finale.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what? They burned it.
And then they burned it in the fire.
Yeah.
And then my last comment was just, I like Jason.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. I thought he was cool. I thought he was real. I thought he was more open than I would expect anybody to be on a first date. And, you know, he went all in. Here's my thing, though. And I'm going to see it happen again later with Blake. But I feel like Jason went in kind of like, you know, he was not sure. He was, you know, he had his guard up when he went into the date.
Yes.
No, but, you know, kind of knowing that he was probably going to have to open up. And then I feel like he wasn't, I feel like, I don't know if he was ready to have that conversation, but he had, like, Claire opened him up, and then, you know, everything spilled out. Like, he laid it all out on the table for her. And I feel like she has this thing with the guys where it's like, they're iffy, but then they're with her and she pulls this out of them, and then they're opening up and they're putting it all out there, and then they're like, whoa, you know, like, she's really awesome. Like, I actually really like her. And they're starting to, you know, develop feelings for her. And I think this is leading towards where it's going to take that turn later down the road. And I'm like, a part of me, you know, I see her with the date, and then I'm like, oh, this is like really great. You know, they have really good chemistry and everything. And I feel like it was awesome. It was a great date. I really love this date. Out of like all of the dates I've seen in Bachelor, this is one of the ones that I actually like the most. It actually had substance. It had meaning behind it. You know, these are actual things that I feel like will build a meaningful, lasting relationship. There was open dialogue. They talked about real stuff. It wasn't some stupid shit. You know, they talked about like real life stuff. They really got to know each other on a very deep level. These are the kinds of levels I feel that build that help go that towards that like soulmate like type relationship level stuff, you know. And then you feel like maybe she might be into it, and then 5 minutes later it's like, oh, but I was really just thinking about Dale the whole time. So then I'm like, so what are you doing? Are you like toying with them? Because you can't talk to people like that and get them, you know, in their feelings and get them to open up.
Exactly.
But really, you know, in the back of your mind, thinking about somebody else, because it's like, why go that deep with somebody?
Why get them to like you in that way to then.
And I see it happen in the Dodgeball date, and let's go into the Dodgeball date, which was the second group date. And then I said it goes all downhill from here. The first couple of parts of the episode I liked. The Dodgeball date, it went completely downhill.
Demeaning. It was demeaning. It was
the date card.
Let's just say if it would have been a bachelor doing that to a bunch of women, that would not have.
That's what I said.
Been good with the public, with the TV. It just. Okay, I'm just speechless because
I know.
I couldn't even really look at it.
So I apologize.
I turned my face, to be honest with you, because it was just disgusting. And then how she was acting up there, it was just
let's get into that.
It was disgusting.
Let's get into that.
I couldn't. It was. Ugh.
I apologize in advance because there's going to be a lot of balls verbiage throughout the whole rest of this freaking
and Chris
recap.
I was like, really, Chris? Oh, we want to see how the guys handle the balls. You know?
Yeah. So
I was like, oh my God.
First of all, the date card said she's looking for a man with some balls.
Mm-hmm.
She greets the guys with balls to the face, every man's dream.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh, this could actually be a really fun day because I used to love playing dodgeball in high school. It's true. They walked through the door and she was like, balls to the face. There is just some sort of satisfaction you get when you chuck a ball as hard as you can and you hit somebody with it and you get them out. Yeah. Anyways, I had my little moment. I was like, I love dodgeball. Then Claire ruined dodgeball for all time for me.
Yes.
So after some warming up with the men and the balls, Chris comes in and says they're playing against each other, 2 teams, and the winning team is going to get the evening cocktail party with Claire. This is very common. We see these types of group dates all the time. They do little competitions.
Yes, but not like this one.
Not like this. The winning team gets to spend time. I didn't expect it to be
strip.
Yeah, so it was blue team versus red team. Initially,
strip dodgeball.
Initially, I guess it wasn't supposed to I can't talk. Originally, it wasn't supposed to be strip dodgeball, but then Claire said she wanted to up the ante and do strip dodgeball, and the guys were just like looking at her. Did you see how all the guys are standing there like,
yes,
like, I'm sorry, what? Like, is this real life?
I did the same thing.
And then I said, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to call the double standard here because if a man would have dare suggest that they do anything involving having to strip,
he would have been a pig.
She would have gotten 8 slaps to the face from every woman and they would have all left.
Yep.
And the fact that she can stand there just because they're men,
I don't think all the women would have left. There would have been. There probably would have been some women that
Corinnes
are like,
would have stood and took off their tops.
Of course.
Like Corinne from Nick's season. She got topless without even being asked.
Exactly.
But anyways, it's just like very. I was like, really, really, Claire, really, you had to go.
She had to go there.
You had to do that.
See, this is what I'm saying. It's just showing her true self. This is who she is.
I was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. And then
that's why she keeps attracting the guys that she attracts.
The guys agreed to it. And
they were being good sports about it.
What was hilarious, I love how the blue team,
but they were uncomfortable.
I love how the blue team did a little pep talk and they were like, blue balls. I was like, oh my God, no, they did not. No, they did not. That was hilarious. I died.
I know.
And then Jay was the MVP of the red team. He was like knocking everybody out. That guy was standing up there by himself and took out like that whole blue team all on his own. So obviously the red team won. The blue team had to strip down to nothing except for one guy. One guy said that he was not going to take off the underwear. And they gave them like these thongs or something to wear. So even the guy who was wearing underwear was still being covered. Like
they weren't thongs. They're like the things that they use to protect their frontals.
So this is very awkward.
Playing sports, jock strips.
Jock straps. Yeah, there you go. Jock straps.
That's what they were wearing, jock straps.
Yeah, so I was like, first point against Claire, suggesting to play strip dodgeball. That's 1 point against her. I didn't like that at all. At all.
I didn't either.
I really
and the guys,
that.
I'm telling you, I
don't think the guys liked it
but
either.
They did not like that at all.
That would have been a turn off.
Their faces when they had a strip that they were like, really, we're stripping. Like,
I feel like they were looking around like, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that we can't do this. Like, can somebody please say that this is not allowed, please?
I know.
Like, this is TV.
I know. It was bad.
Yeah, I would have paid money to see Joseph be on this date because I would have loved to see how he would have responded.
He wouldn't have done it.
He would have been like, I'm sorry, I'm out. Like, I would have liked to see that. I would have liked to see that confrontation.
He would have been the one to go up there, slap her, and then walk away. But then if he would have slapped her,
I don't think it would have slapped her.
Then it would have been like, oh, no, you can't do that. But a woman could go and slap a man. A man can't slap a woman. But,
Yeah, so I don't think anybody should be slapping anybody or laying hands on anybody. And that's just it is what it is. So moving on. So the blue team lost. They had to strip down to nothing except for the one guy. And I was like, Claire was definitely not looking away at all. She was all like,
she was acting like,
it's like, I'm sorry, do you want to take out your binoculars?
She was acting like one of her dogs in Heat.
You want to take out a camera and take some pictures? Like, okay. And then not only that, but she also insisted on hugging every single one of the naked men before they left. And when the guys were walking away naked, she was still like looking, like trying to look up their booty holes or something. I don't know.
Yep. Looking at the size of their balls.
Yo, if I was any of the other guys there, I would be like very turned off by that.
That would have turned me off
very
as
unattractive.
A man or even as a woman. I would have been turned off because right there, she just treated them like pieces of meat.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Like, you can't treat a person like that.
And then Blake said,
"Don't get mad when they turn around and disrespect you."
And when Blake walked away, and he was like, "Dodgeball effed up my life."
Yeah.
He said, "Dodgeball effed up my whole life."
Yeah.
he was the person having the hardest time of all with it. Because he was like, well, first of all, add insult to injury. Not only did they lose, you made them strip. Yeah. Not only did you make them strip, they have to walk back to their room.
Naked.
Like, what's that? If that is some, like... Yeah. What show? You're right. What show am I watching?
Exactly.
What show am I watching?
Exactly.
Is this The Bachelorette? Or is this something else?
That's how I was like, what am I watching?
Am I watching Love Island? Oh. Am I watching that show where, that new reality show where the goal is to not have sex with each other because apparently they're overly sexual people? Like, is this that show?
I think so.
I'm confused.
I don't know, but she looked like a dog in heat.
Yeah, so the guys arrived back to the room naked. I'm like, really? They're all like standing around naked, sitting down on the couch naked, covering themselves up with pillows. Oh, that one
guy. What was his name?
Bennett was like, we should get a cleaning crew in here.
He was just
like
sitting
for the
there.
guys sitting on the couch. There were several.
He didn't have no pillow, no nothing. He was just sitting there, and they're just looking at him like, really, dude? You're not gonna put nothing. And then he was like, up. Then he got up and walked away.
Yeah. And then
I was like, whoa, they're streaking on the couches.
And then we keep getting little things of Blake having his little talks about how, how terrible it is and how much, like, pretty much he just keeps talking about Dodgeball ruining his freaking night and everything. And he's so upset and he hates it. And I feel like he just keeps, like, he's spiraling more. Every time they show him, he's just spiraling a little bit more.
I mean, the ones that got him big is comfortable. And the ones that have, like, a 3-incher is not very comfortable.
Well, I don't know. You can't see his stuff. We don't know.
But they were looking at each other. So,
That's awkward.
They were putting it out there. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. So Claire shares the cocktail with the red team. Easy pulls Claire aside first and gives her a foot massage. Easy says that she checks off all the boxes with him and how he really loves her energy and that she makes him giddy. And Claire was happy because she got a foot massage because, the physical touch.
Yep.
Claire sits with Chasen and he says he was bullied as a kid for being short. He always stayed in and played video games. Claire shares that she never went to prom because no one asked her out and she felt invisible. And then she and Chasen made out and he said it gave him goosebumps. And I was like, the goosey bump is. Back at the house. Meanwhile, back at the house, Blake is still spiraling about Dodgeball. And he's getting all dolled up because he wants to get his time with Claire. I was like, this could end really badly or it could go really well. We don't know yet.
I was like, ooh, he broke into the party. Yep.
So Blake shows up cutting in on Jay's time and wants to steal Claire. Jay was pissed.
Oh, please.
And he's like, didn't you lose? And then I was like, that's something I probably would have said. Like, if I was Jay and then the other team showed up and he was like, hey, can I get some time? I'd be like, did you not lose the game?
I would have been like, I'm not leaving anywhere. You lost. So you need to go. Be the sport that you were. Be naked and go.
Be naked and marry. So, but Blake ends up getting time with Claire. And he said that the night one talk about him breaking the rules inspired him to barge in and put his balls out. So Jace goes back to the guys.
I know.
And tells them,
like, what? Why are you out here?
And tells them that Blake showed up. And then Blake says he will take heat for this, but he doesn't care. So all the guys barge in on Blake and shit's going down.
Shit is hitting the fan.
Right? They are not having it. They said they won fair and square. And Blake goes on about his balls and he wants to show them to Claire. And why don't these guys get it? The amount of times the word balls is used, I am so done. No, Blake literally was like, yeah, I'm going to balls in, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, we get it. The balls. Enough with the balls. Like, we're not even playing dodgeball anymore and everyone still keeps saying balls.
Maybe he has big balls.
So after the guys make a whole big fuss about it and they're basically, I guess, waiting for him to get up and leave. And that didn't happen. And then Claire was like, let me get one more minute with him. Yeah. So then the guys all go back to the couch and they're like, yo, this is ridiculous. And then Claire ends the conversation, says that she appreciated the gesture, but she doesn't want to disrespect the other guys who won their time. And then Blake tries to go in for a kiss when they say goodbye and gets denied.
Yep.
And she's like, oh, yeah, not right now. This is not the time. We just had this awkward moment and this is not the time for you to kiss me. Which I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, so did this go good for him or did this not go good for him? Does she appreciate the gesture or does she not appreciate the gesture?
For real.
I feel like we're getting some mixed signals here. I'm feeling really bad for Blake right now. So
I was like, what? How dare you disrespect those boys? I'm doing that by feeling everything for Dale.
So Blake leaves. Claire goes back to the red team. She talks to Brandon next. Brandon gives her the cliche that when he found out she was the Bachelorette, he knew he had to go on. And so she asks him why. And then it's a very, very awkward silence. And then he goes on to say that he knows nothing about her except that she's beautiful. And so Claire called him out on his surface level comment, and the conversation went south very quickly. And then Brandon was trying to talk, and then he was just digging his hole deeper and deeper. And then she just ended it and sent him home.
Can I just end this conversation with you, please?
Yes, then she just sent him home.
Yeah.
Well, for the record, you can't say that you saw somebody and it made you want to go on the show
then say
that you know nothing. And then he's like, well, none of the other guys know anything. And she's like, well, that's not really true because they've at least seen me, on other seasons. So they know stuff about me, like, how my personality and stuff.
Like a lot of them were like, I got excited when I found out that you were the Bachelor. Is he? Yeah, he's the one that said I signed up especially because I knew you were the Bachelorette.
Yeah, but then he didn't have anything else to say.
I don't know anything about you.
So
how the hell do you know me enough to sign yourself up for me?
Yeah.
Okay, we're ending this conversation and we're going home.
The first early pre-rose ceremony elimination happened tonight. And she said, Brandon can't think of one thing he likes about her. Why is he here?
Good night.
For airtime, Claire. He's there for the TV time. So then she goes back to the group. She says she sent Brandon home because she doesn't want anything superficial. And Brandon was superficial. And the group date road goes to Chasen.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, Chasen. And Easy was shooketh. You saw his face. He was like, what?
I massaged her feet.
Right?
Why didn't I get a rose?
And then that ended the group date.
He's like, that didn't discourage me because I'm going to keep working and I'm going to keep working until I get her affection.
You work it easy.
Easy, you look good too.
So next day, the guys are in the house. They're discussing Brandon. And then Yosef said if he was
disgusting.
Yeah, Yosef said if he was Brandon, he would have said, I liked you a lot more before you humiliated me. And he said, obviously, he wouldn't have stripped. He doesn't want his daughter seeing that it was classless. And he plans to address Claire on the cocktail party.
Yes.
That's when we get that moment.
I love Yosef.
Meanwhile, Blake is still spiraling. Actually, I think he's spiraling even more because Claire denied his kiss and he was like freaking out. He was like, oh my gosh, you know my kiss. Oh my gosh, I'm over.
I got naked for this woman.
Right?
I was all balls today.
So then we're into the rose ceremony.
She had the balls to turn my kiss down.
Yeah. Then we're in the rose ceremony cocktail party. Claire comes in with the silver dress that we know from the previews is where she says, this is why I don't settle for men like that. So we know the moment is coming. The 39-year-old woman moment is coming. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, we don't get it this episode.
That's what I was going to say.
What we do get is Claire coming in and doing the little toast to the cocktail party. A guy tries to pull her away immediately, which did she not ask for that earlier?
Exactly.
And then she goes, nobody's sorry. Actually, I want to talk to Blake first, which I thought was rude.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you have so much time throughout the night. Let the guy have his time and then go in and pull Blake aside.
She's immature.
She's rude. That was rude.
She is.
To me, that was
very rude and immature. I've been saying it since day one.
Yeah, so she denies the guy, doesn't let him grab her, and then grabs Blake instead. So then she goes to talk to Blake about him barging in, and she said she thought that his move was amazing, and she doesn't want him to question anything or worry for the night, so she gives him a rose. And I was like, man, the guy's gonna be pissed when he goes back in wearing that rose. And then this is when I was like, Claire, do not mess with Blake's heart. Don't feed him to the lions.
Seriously.
I was like, how's he gonna pull you, like, go back in, barge in to get the time with you, and then you say you like it, but then that he needs to leave, but then you don't kiss him. Like, at least give him the little kiss goodbye. He wouldn't have been freaking out if you hadn't denied the kiss. So it's like mixed signals. You deny the kiss, and then he's like, dang, maybe I made the wrong move. But then the next day you're like, no, you totally made the right move. And then you give him a rose, and then he's like, oh, I'm back on cloud 9. I feel like I'm on this roller coaster. Or if you're not going to give
him a kiss, just be like, Blake, don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't want to kiss you. It's just that I don't want to disrespect the rest of the guys by kissing you, trying to reward your break-in.
Yeah, but she ends up reporting him anyway, though, with a rose.
But she doesn't even say that. She's like, ugh, like, no, this lips, they're for Dale.
Yeah, I was like those
Dale.
are such Dale.
They're for Dale.
That was mixed signals right there for me. I'm like, I feel like I'm on this roller coaster with Blake, and he's probably going to keep going on this roller coaster with her. What did I say? Of feeling like he doesn't have a chance, and then getting affirmation and feeling like he's got a chance, and then feeling like he doesn't have a chance. It's like this roller coaster with Blake.
I said that her adventure on The Bachelorette was going to be like a freaking roller coaster.
Yeah, so then Blake has to walk back into the room with the rose. Mm-hmm. And all the guys looking at him like, oh, we're kicking your ass tonight. So you got that rose on your chest, Blake, eh? And then somebody was like, oh, so, I guess that means there's no rules. There's no rules because he's just got rewarded for breaking the rules. So I guess there's no rules. And then all the guys are like, well, guess what? Nobody's going to follow the rules now.
No rules. Rules are done.
There's no rules.
Because, there's always that one person that breaks the rules and everybody's like, oh, he's in trouble.
Yeah, but nope.
But when they get rewarded with a rose, they're like, fuck that. Oh, excuse me. F that, No rules.
There's no rules.
We can do whatever the hell we want.
Claire does not know what she just started.
Now I'm going to go into her hotel room whenever the hell I feel like it. Or,
right?
I know, there's right? No I'm just going to go knock on her door and visit her whenever I want to. How's that?
Yeah.
Because that's what Dale did, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was...
He already went, no rules? What? They said no rules? Okay, well, was she in?
Right? There's no rules.
Wake up the next day in each other's arms.
No, apparently rules. That happens with Dale.
So that's what Claire I mean,
Dale. Of course, in the we had to end the episode with Claire and Dale. Claire pulls Dale, makes it clear she's forgotten him. Dale says he has a deep connection, trusts her deeply. I'm like, how can you trust her deeply? You don't even know her. This is like getting towards the end show type of conversation, not a second rose ceremony type conversation. Mm-hmm. So Claire shares more about struggle with her mom's health with dementia and going through it all alone. Claire has a surprise for Dale. We get the blindfold moment, which we saw from the preview where she blindfolded and was kissing a guy, which obviously we know is Dale. And it is a moment back to the physical touch thing on the group date. I'm like, you didn't have enough on the group date. And then she says her moments with Dale are magical and she feels her dreams are coming true. And then we get a preview of what is to come, which indicates that the guys are going to discuss Claire and Dale speaking before the show. So we see that conversation happening, and that she is apparently going to make it very clear to the men that she only has eyes for Dale. A brief
and that
clip.
She doesn't have to.
Yeah, we also get a brief clip showing that Yosef says he's ashamed to be associated with her. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I think there might be a little bit of an editing manipulation. I don't know that he necessarily said he's ashamed to be associated with her. I feel like they kind of edited it to make it look like he said it that way, but I don't think that's necessarily exactly how it's going to come out of his mouth. I think it's going to come out a little bit less.
With Yosef, I don't know.
No, I don't think he's going to say it. It's probably more like, and I'm ashamed to be associated with something that, or I feel like he's probably going to talk about the dodgeball date and he's going to be, I would be ashamed to be associated with something like that. And then they're making it sound like I'm ashamed to be associated with Claire. I think that's what he's saying. That he would be ashamed to be associated with what happened on the dodgeball date.
If you were on the date, would you strip? And he said, no, I wouldn't strip. I have a kid at home.
Yeah. We also see that in the preview, there's clips that the guys are going to be going in on Dale. They're going to be questioning his everything. And again, we see the infamous walkout threat where all the guys say that they're going to walk out.
They have every right to.
And then, Claire blew up the Bachelorette.
They have every right to be upset. They have every right to question things. And they have every right to want to walk out.
I still go back to saying that the reason that Claire on night 1 brought up Blake reaching out to her and made a whole point of saying that he's the only one who reached out to her is because I think
to cover her tracks.
Yeah, I think it's to cover the fact that she did talk to Dale. There's no way their relationship is moving at this speed. And when they even on night 1, when they were sitting down and having a conversation, it felt like a pickup of a previous conversation. Yeah. He was like, oh, how's your mom? And so, if he had already had conversations with her before. And then tonight,
how's your mom doing?
And then tonight he was like, I always keep you in my prayers and blah, blah, blah. And it sounds like, when they talk, it sounds like they're picking up old conversations. And the only thing that I feel like is new to them is the physical aspect of the relationship, which is why they're so touchy-feely.
That's why when they hug each other and everything, it's like, oh my God, that's the confirmation that I needed. I felt this energy while we spoke, but to actually feel it physically,
Yeah, it's a different
and
story.
she's constantly saying how she needs to have that physical connection with him because they already have the mental connection.
Yeah.
So she's focusing, and she's constantly saying that too. I want to focus on the connection with Dale. Because when they was on that group date, that's what she said. I want to feel that connection.
Yeah.
Because we already have that mental connection. We need now that physical connection. And
I still say they definitely talk before the show. I don't care what she says.
And she pisses me off when she talks about how she should not have to, what did she say?
The part where she said she said, I'll apologize if I hurt you. I'll apologize if I waste your time, but I won't apologize for love.
For love. Yeah. No, you do need to apologize, because if that's exactly how you felt, then you should assess something from day one and not bring all these guys on and then do these dates and get them to open up and get them to trust you and everything, to then turn around and be the whole entire time with Dale's thoughts, with him on your mind. Come on. She wakes up, she goes to bed thinking about him, wakes up thinking about him.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's disgusting. I mean, good. I'm not saying it's good for them, but that they're in love, but don't,
in the context,
this is the Bachelorette. You know what I mean?
In the context of the show, it just isn't
wrong.
Quite right. Yeah.
It's wrong and it's deceiving.
I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with falling in love with somebody, but when you go into a situation where you're not supposed to have any preformed relationships and you have a preformed relationship, and then but even though you pretty much already know this person is end game for you and you're still like stringing other people along, that's where it becomes messy and it becomes this like bad thing.
Yes.
And then when you openly display in front of the other men how much more into one of the other guys are than you are into everybody else, and then you want to get enraged when everybody's not throwing themselves at you.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know. And then, we have the dodgeball date and I didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all.
It didn't sit well with me. Mm-mm. I didn't like it.
I wonder how many
it was totally
kids were sitting around. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some parents that have their kids sitting around while they're watching it and they were like, oh my God, clip, change that. I mean, even though they blocked it out, but still change that. I didn't even want to watch it. And those were hot men.
And the constant balls thing.
But I don't know. They were hot guys and everything, but that whole setting and the whole game, it just made it feel so dirty. You know what I mean?
I feel like it would have been one thing if it wasn't Claire's idea and they were just like, oh, so it's
exactly. Then it's like, wow, they're really putting them all of them through that.
Yeah.
How uncomfortable for everybody. But for her to actually do that.
Yeah, but she specifically requested
I know that.
Now, this isn't the same as, if you want to compare it to other seasons, Caitlyn had a thing with Sean where Sean ended up stripping. I don't really think that's the same.
No.
First of all, it was a one-on-one and they were intimately, together in that moment. And they were just joking and making fun. It wasn't like a sexual thing. So
no, this one, I don't know. This felt dirty. Other times, whenever they're stripping on the show, it was more funny and it was more the person who did it.
This felt like inappropriate.
It was. It felt
it's for
dirty
your
and
viewing pleasure in a weird way. And then she kept making comments about, being in quarantine all alone and needing the physical touch and everything. And it's like, are all these guys just like pieces of meat to you to satisfy you for the moment? That's not how it works.
Yes.
And if a man were in her position making the same comments, doing the same things, it would not fly.
I'm all about woman empowerment, but this was not at all woman empowerment. To me, when she made that comment about them stripping to bring up to ante the game, all I saw was this big, fat, disgusting man sitting up there telling these women to strip for his pleasure and forcing them to strip for his pleasure. That's what I saw.
Except it is a woman.
But it was her. And I was like, oh, she just keeps doing things that just keeps making me dislike her even more. And it's like she's just confirming everything that I felt about her. I don't know her. I've never been around her. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm really good I'm a good judge of character because everything that I said about her is coming out.
I think that, here's my thing. I think that in the context of like a normal situation, like as a friend and everything, I think she's fine. But in the relationship part, it's like, no.
I couldn't be her friend. I can't associate myself with
like she would be a good friend,
women like her.
I don't know about the relationship thing would just throw it off.
Because even as a friend, she would be needy. Because the minute, no, and I'm going to tell you something. I met someone like that. At first, I thought, man, she's cool. I was, we would talk and everything. And just one day, she calls and I couldn't answer the phone. She was like, oh, you don't want to talk to me anymore? You don't want to be my friend anymore? That's her. That would be her.
That's crazy.
They're like, what do you call that thing? Succubus?
I would hope that somebody
They're like
would
a succubus.
Not be that
they
way.
just want to suck everything out of you. And that would be her. The day you don't hang out with her, oh, what's wrong? You found somebody else? You don't want to be my friend anymore?
That's insecurity.
Yes. That's exactly how I see her. She has a lot of insecurities. She needs to, I don't know. I couldn't be her friend. She would just suck up the life out of me. It would be too much work because friendship shouldn't be a lot of work. It just shouldn't. You should just be friends.
I can't say because I don't know her, but I don't really like what I'm seeing on the show.
At all.
There's moments of goodness that are clouded by moments of immaturity and weirdness.
The Bachelor and the Bachelorette was my favorite thing to look at every season. But I don't know.
Yeah, so when's Tayshia coming in?
Seriously, let's bring her on. Come on, let's bring her in.
Yeah.
Let's bring her on. Let's bring her on.
Yeah.
Because I'm done with Clare.
I keep going into the episode wanting to have my opinion, like have my mind changed on things I said before. And I have a moment and I'm like, okay. And then I have another moment and I'm like, I
know. That's why when I was telling you how disgusted I am with the show and her and everything, and you were like questioning me, like, oh my gosh,
right? Like, why are you so mean?
Now you see what I'm talking
I'm not
about.
that mean. I'm not that harsh on. I'm not that hard on her. But
you can see now why.
We're all human. Everybody has their faults and stuff like that. It's just that hers are being put on display for the whole world to judge.
Okay.
So.
Okay. When I think of the show, and I say this a lot because of the past candidates that's been on these shows, there has been a lot of immaturities and stuff, and there has been shows where they've made mistakes or they've done things that they shouldn't have done, and they get a lot of backlash and everything. But she's like, I don't even know. Like,
we're in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I don't feel like
she's like destroying.
I don't feel like I'm watching The Bachelorette. I feel like I'm watching some different show.
Right?
And it's not just the fact that the mansion isn't, we don't have the mansion.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
There's something about it that feels different.
It is.
It feels like if you threw me into a room or something. I don't know. It feels like,
I don't know.
There's something off about it.
I said it.
It doesn't feel right.
I'm not going to change my mind. She should have never been chosen as the Bachelorette. I feel like the Bachelorette should be like a candidate that you would also want to see as Miss America, or not so pageantry,
Miss America.
No, what I'm saying, not all pageantry, but self-discipline and self-respect, and still be a woman and still be strong and be empowered and do things that, they would say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You're a woman. But in a tasteful way. in a tasteful way. What she did today was not tasteful at all. We need
another Trista, another Caitlyn.
Yes.
Another JoJo, another... Even Hannah Brown.
Yes. All of the Bachelorettes, please. She destroyed like that whole... She's like, I'm just going to take all of y'all blow up the Bachelorette. She's like, I'm just going to take all y'all princesses and I'm just going to knock y'all down for all that hard work.
She's going to blow up the Bachelorette.
Yeah, for all the hard work that you did, I'm going to show you what a true disgusting woman is. Because that's
was harsh.
I call it like it is. I call it like it is. I call it like it is.
Well, where we get what was advertised to us. She's gonna blow up the Bachelorette. And if there's nothing left after that,
she's giving a whole different name to the Bachelorette.
And then maybe we'll have this little blip and then it'll only be for like a couple of episodes and then we'll get Tayshia and then it'll go back to what Bachelorette season should be.
This whole episode, I felt like I was watching 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like listening to other podcasts that talk about it until after we record it because I don't like to have other people's opinions in my mind.
Yeah,
I did see some like titles on this episode and a lot of them were like enraged people and I'm like, what the hell happened in this episode that people are so mad about?
Yeah.
Now I see. I'm gonna have to listen and see like what are other people mad about the same things that we're specifically talking about, or if it's something different.
She does.
Is everybody else like, where's Tayshia? Is everybody else like really now hoping that it is true that Tayshia's coming in? I mean, people were kind of hoping it before, but I feel like now more than ever, they're like, please replace her.
Here's the thing though, like when they were doing the recaps of the Bachelorette and Bachelor, and then they had these Bachelorettes from the past talk about, oh, Claire's gonna be the new Bachelorette, what do you think? Oh, I think it's wonderful that she's gonna be the Bachelorette. She's gonna bring a lot to this game, and all I can say is like, keep open and just be yourself and be open to all the possibilities and everything that each bachelor brings,
That's not what happened.
That is not what happened. She was like, they must feel like, oh my God, did I just endorse this woman?
Right. Word on the street is there's some like Bachelorette Bible thing that the leads will hand off to each other over year. And Claire must not have gotten it. And if she did, she must have burned it with the dress because she ain't following. She is not listening to anybody's advice.
She didn't. She didn't listen to anybody.
I'm going to talk about a trailblazer. She's going to blaze a trail and then there's going to be nothing left behind it. So hopefully that nobody can follow behind it. But she's
she's that person that took the mattress, put it on fire and then ran down the street with it.
I'm a little disappointed.
And when you see that fire going like, what the hell is that? Is that a burning mattress? Yeah, that's Claire.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed. Because remember when we were like talking about the season upcoming?
I'm not disappointed.
And I was like, I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt,
because I said it from day one. I was like, what? Why her? This is going to be, and I even told you, I don't even know if I want to watch it,
but
because she is a train wreck.
I try to give everybody a chance.
Yeah.
I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I gave Juan Pablo the benefit of the doubt, right? I watched his season. It turned out that my original opinion of him was wrong.
Yep.
So I like to try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
I'm pretty good judge of character.
So,
I'm telling you.
I was like, maybe
we'll
be pleasantly
with
surprised.
Juan Pablo, I said, I don't know. I think they're just blowing things out of proportion. He's probably not even as bad as what they're saying. And he sure wasn't.
I don't think she's the worst human ever, but I don't think she was the right choice for this particular role.
Juan Pablo said it. Whew, dodged that one.
Oh, dodged the bullet.
He said it. He was like,
oh no, he was like, oh, glad I didn't pick her.
Glad I didn't pick her. I dodged that.
Well, the majority of their relationship was physical. There wasn't really any substance to it. It was a primarily physical.
That's what she liked about it.
Relationship. There wasn't a whole lot else to it. Although getting a little bit of context in the fact that, she's been in emotionally abusive relationships, it makes a little bit more sense to me why she didn't address him immediately when he made that comment to her. Remember?
Yeah.
The one that she said he made. I was like, it makes a little bit more sense why she wouldn't address it, as soon as it happened. Okay.
But here's the thing though. He made that comment Now, at the time when she was a candidate, you really didn't get to see her true self. You only saw bits and pieces of whatever the show wanted us to see. For him to make that comment specifically to her or anyone like her with the Bachelorette now and what she did today, I can see why he made that comment. Because a man will treat you how you display yourself.
I will say, because there's no audio recording available, and, you know, to get both sides of the story, Claire says the comment, you know, happened. Juan Pablo is claiming he never said it.
Yep.
Or that's not what he said to her.
Or that it wasn't, or maybe he did say something in that form, but probably not like she said.
No, he's saying he didn't say that at all. Like, he didn't say anything like that. This is what he's saying. That's what he claims. Because he did like one interview like that he's ever done, and they asked him about it. They're like, so, you know, Claire being the Bachelorette and the comment and everything, and they asked him like, did you really say that to her? And he was like, no, I didn't say that to her. So that's what he says.
I don't know.
Obviously she tells a different story.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, looking at her now with her hot-headedness and kind of overexerting things. Because just like with the guys, like to come out and just like scream at them, pretty much.
It was weird. Off-putting.
Was really not called for. To me.
Yeah.
It wasn't called for.
I agree. So next episode, we're going to see the blow up argument happen.
Can't wait.
I'm not sure how much more she gets into her season before ultimately, I guess, she ends up being replaced. But I guess we'll see what happens next. It looks like a lot more explosive stuff is going to happen. Guys getting pissed off, questioning Dale, questioning them talking before the show. So I'm interested to see, are we going to get some new revelations on this or not? Is Dale going to incriminate himself or incriminate Claire accidentally? We're going to have to wait and see and find out.
Yep.
And we're going to cross our fingers, I guess, and hope that the rumors are true, whether it be that Claire left or that the guys leave. We really don't care at this point. Bring in that new Bachelorette.
Seriously.
We're ready for her.
We're ready for you, Tasha.
We're ready for you, Tasha.
Ready. Next.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be a little more classy.
Yeah. We'll be back with the next recap. Oh my gosh. This is my last recap here for the month.
She's going on vacation, y'all.
Yeah, I'm going to be gone next week.
She's going to Tennessee.
I'm going to Tennessee.
Going up to the mountains.
The only tent I see is those Smoky Mountains.
She'll be showing pictures.
Yeah, I'm going to be recording. I'm going to take videos. Yes. I'm going to take pictures.
They're going to be celebrating their anniversary.
I'm going to do the whole nine. I'm going to do some vlogs.
Third anniversary?
Second
anniversary.
Yeah, second year. 2-year anniversary.
Year, wow.
Yep.
That was quick.
2 years married, 4 years together.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 years. Because we were together 1 year, then we got engaged for a year.
Yes.
Married for 2 years, so 4 years total. Yep.
God bless.
Time flies.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like 4 years. I keep looking back and I'm like, wait, how long has it been?
Well, that's how it is when you're happy. It doesn't seem that long. Like, oh my gosh, 30-something years.
I know. Isn't it crazy?
Like, where did those years go?
They're in the past. It's in the past.
What are you telling?
So yeah. Like I said in the beginning, if you made it all the way to the end, congratulations. You might as well go ahead and hit the subscribe button because obviously you like hearing our voice. So make sure you stay tuned. We drop episodes usually we do Wednesdays and Fridays, with the Bachelorette airing on Tuesdays. They've been dropping sometimes Wednesday evening, sometimes Thursday, depends on when we record, but typically Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yes.
And at some point I want to do some little Halloween bite-sized things that we can sprinkle in next week for the week of Halloween. And so make sure you stay posted. There'll be lots of exciting things coming. Maybe our next podcast will be also on a video, via Zoom.
Yes.
So so
that we can have some audience participation.
I know, right? Stay tuned for that. And we hope you're staying safe, happy, and healthy, and manifesting everything you desire out of life.
Amen.